So we're now on to the Greco-Rome section of the park. This is right at the back of the park, and it's also the largest section. So it has a lot in it, and it took the longest time for me to work out what elements would go in and how they would all fit in relation to each other. So I'm just going to zoom in. So what we've got here, these circular things, this large one and these smaller ones are fountains. So you can see them there. It wasn't supposed to look like a Voynich manuscript kind of illustration. It was supposed to be more like a Tivoli fountain or even a Trevi fountain for some of them. But this is what was created, and so that's what I'm sticking with. So we also have right at the front some feet. So the story behind these feet was that originally I thought that it was going to be just a random Greek statue that had a crown on it, because that was the visual that came to me when I was creating it. But then I was doing some research that wasn't really related, and I heard about Helios and how Helios had a huge statue, I think in Rome, and it was as big as, if not bigger than, the Statue of Liberty. But over time, or due to a hurricane or some sort of earthquake, it collapsed. And so I think that that was somehow me picking up on some sort of previously known knowledge when I was creating this. So that's Helios's feet here and here, and that's his body there. So when you walk in, the first thing that you're treated to is this fountain, and you'll also notice that if you look at this illustration that there are zones. So because of the size of this park and the amount of people that will be filtering in and out of these different sections, they'll be timestamped so that people can't overfill any particular area, but then they also can't leave without losing their place in queues, particularly for this ride, which we'll get to in a minute. So to start with, you go in, you walk past these feet, you walk past the fountain, and you see these two, which are two kind of very fun arches. They're very fun, colourful, and they have this kind of unusual bird style illustration carved into them. And then you will walk past another fountain, and if you choose to go left, you'll see this shop area where you can get food and souvenirs and gift items, and further in there'll be a bathroom. Not shown in this illustration is a ride called Cloudbuster. Cloudbuster simply is as it is. You'll lie down and you'll shoot clouds of different shapes, and it's just quite a fun, sort of easy ride that you can just go on, and after you've maybe had something to eat perhaps and you just want to digest. Then when you exit, you'll see something like this, which is a little lake, and it has a bottle on it. So this is the ship in a bottle boat ride, which you can see here, and it will basically show you a kind of beautiful series of wind, rain, sun effects and sounds of the beach and sounds of the sea, and it will kind of just simulate what it's like to be on a Greek island in the heat of summer. And I liked it. It's one of my earlier ideas. Originally it was going to be in the Caribbean section of the park, but I felt like actually it was better suited to here for some reason, and it stayed here for at least a year. Coming out of this area, again, you'll see another fountain, so you can leave this section. So this is a section in itself. Then this section here is all of this and all of this. So what we've got here is a ride. So this ride was the original ride that I thought of when I first came to the idea that I was going to do a Greco-Rome section. And this is what's known as the Trojan Horse. Basically, I had to figure out a way to get the horse from one part of the park to another in a way that would be fun and interesting for people. So I thought up this idea that people would make the horse in a miniature form, but they'd be given a set time frame in which to do it. So let's say there's 2 people, so you would have 2 minutes, but if there's 6, maybe you only get 1 minute. And depending on how many of you there is, you would have to put it together within that time frame. And if you've been before, your time frame will be reduced, or if a few of you have been and some of you haven't been, it'll be reduced proportionally, so just to make it fair. And once you've completed, say, 90% of the horse, you'll be allowed to board this part of the ride, which is actually here on the plan. And then the ride will take you all the way through where you will exit, and you'll be given a coin, which you will then be able to use to release more coins. And depending on how many coins you get, you'll be treated to one of 5 rooms, and each of these 5 rooms will have a different experience. They'll be almost like temporary exhibitions, so they'll change all of the time, and they'll offer different things from, let's say, a disco room to like a bar room to, another games room or something. But each time there'll be a new experience. You'll never have the same experience twice. So then over to this way, if you were to exit, you'll come to the cinema section. So this cinema here will feature, again, short stories, cartoons, things like that are fun and engaging for people, but are still themed in the Greco-Roman style. And then if you go further down and into this singular section next to Helios, you'll see that there's a set of stairs, and then inside this foot, there'll be a lift for disabled access. And if you go down, you'll go into something called Excavator. So this is Excavator here. It is a ride it is actually a room where you'll be able to use a grabber to collect different gems, and you'll be able to get points for depending on what gems you get. And everyone will have the same time frame for this, but obviously it will get more tricky depending on how many times you've been to the park as well. So again, everything in the park will level up as you level up. If it knows you, if you've been there before, it will be like, oh, I know you. I know your skill set. I know what you can do. Let me make this more challenging for you. The final part of Greco-Rome is the Circus Maximus. This was used for chariot races in Roman times. In our park, this will be used for a similar thing. So you'll be able to design your own chariot, and you'll then be able to race them against other members of your party and other players who are also playing at the same time, with a special prize for the winner, which will be their picture in our Hall of Fame. So that completes the Greco-Rome section of the park. Thank you for watching. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and please take a look at my other videos.